of this committee in saying that hate and discrimination of any kind is beyond acceptable and has no place in our society. In the United States of America in the year 2025, it should not be a controversial statement to say that anti-Semitism is horrific and must not be tolerated any place in our country. Let us never forget that anti-Semitism has plagued Jewish people for many, many, many centuries, culminating in the slaughter of some 6 million Jews during the Holocaust. Mr. Chairman, a number of years ago, my wife and I visited Auschwitz. I don't know if you have ever done that, but I would recommend that anybody here who goes to Europe drop by, and it's certainly something that you will never forget. A number of years ago, I happened to be in Pittsburgh, and I spoke with the rabbi at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh. As you recall, it was the worst slaughter of Jews in American history. 7 Jews were killed by somebody at a synagogue. So let me be very clear. Anti-Semitism on college campuses or any place else must be condemned in the strongest possible terms. But today we should also be clear that we, and again, I hope I speak for every member of this committee, condemn all forms of bigotry. Vile hatred is not something that should exist in the United States, whether it is racism against the African American community, whether it's sexism, whether it's homophobia, whether it is xenophobia, or whether it is Islamophobia. Today in America, we have Asian Americans who are walking the streets and getting harassed. We have Muslims who are walking the streets and getting harassed. We continue to see people who are African American and Latino face prejudice of all kinds. And in fact, we have seen a rise in hate crimes against the transgender community as well. And I want to remind people, because this is kind of a little bit personal, in my city of Burlington, Vermont, just a couple of years ago, 3 miles from where I live, 10 minutes away, 3 young Palestinian students, wonderful kids, because I ended up talking to them. They were shot in cold blood, shot because they were Palestinians. So, Mr. Chairman, I applaud you for holding this hearing, but I hope when we look about prejudice and bigotry in America, we may want to expand it. Anti-Semitism, unacceptable, so is Islamophobia and other forms of bigotry. Now, the other thing, and you touched on it a moment ago, Mr. Chairman, there is a great dispute and debate in this country about what's going on in Gaza right now. No great secret about that. As you indicated, Mr. Chairman, in October of a year and a half ago, Hamas, a terrorist organization, launched a horrific attack against Israel, killed 1,200 innocent men, women, and children, took several hundred people hostage. I don't think there's anybody on this committee who does not believe that Israel had the right to defend itself and go after Hamas, terrorist organization. But, Mr. Chairman, there are very serious disagreements about what the Netanyahu government has done in Gaza. And some of us think that Netanyahu has not just gone after Hamas, they've gone after the Palestinian people. And in a nation or group of 2.2 million Palestinians in Gaza, over 50,000 of them have been killed, over half of whom, 2/3 of them, are women and children. Over 100,000 people have been wounded because of the incessant bombing on civilian areas. The entire infrastructure of Gaza, their entire healthcare system, their educational system, their water system has been completely destroyed. And according to international law, and in my view, what Netanyahu has done is criminal. So we can agree that anti-Semitism is unacceptable in all forms. But some of us happen to believe that the response of the Netanyahu government to the Hamas attack is also unacceptable. And if anyone wants to suggest that I or anybody else who speaks out on that issue, whether you're on a college campus or in the United States Senate, is anti-Semitic because we think that what Netanyahu is doing is outrageous, we can have that debate. If I attack the Italian government for doing what they may or may not be doing, I'm not anti-Italian or the Irish government. To attack the Netanyahu government for their outrageous activities in Gaza does not make one an anti-Semite. So with that, Mr. President, Mr. Chairman, I would yield the floor.